Here we go.
Hopefully you're still there. Yep, you're still there. That's good.
I am.
Okay.
We good? I'm all just down the normal screen for today, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Has it started? Okay. Hi, everyone. This looks a bit different, doesn't it?
Hang on, it will do.
So,
there we go. Now it looks different.
so basically, here's the sitch, guys. So
Nick's a busy
I
boy.
It's been a busy time, and before you say, "Oh yeah, well, I'm busy too," I had 2 weddings in the same weekend last weekend, so I've heard that that's pretty
unprecedented,
abnormal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jay's been
last time
Jay's
I went
been
to a
very,
wedding
very
was
patient.
2017 maybe. It's been a while.
Oh wow, mate, that's a long time ago. The dad?
No, I think Dad's one was in 2016.
Oh,
I just
I'm
went
losing
to a
it.
different
I'm losing
family
it.
one.
2016, okay.
Different family one.
Do you like weddings?
I do actually. I've sort of grown to love them over the years. I really enjoyed my dad's. My dad's was amazing.
I think I'm the same.
I don't know. I
Was
think
it in the
when you're a
church?
kid, it's sort of like you don't really can't get the full fun out of it. But when you're a bit older, it's not too bad.
Totally. Alcohol also helps a lot.
I guess. So.
Jay, can you hear those cars? They seem pretty loud, right?
Yeah, I can, but it don't matter. I mean, it's not that bad.
All right. Yeah, so Jay's been very, very, very patient with me. Haven't had loads of chance to edit either or record, but he messaged me last night. I'm like, yeah, I can't let Jay down again, so we're just gonna make time. So I'm literally walking around Norwich because we're staying here the weekend. I made Jay get up early because he's that good of a host. I'm yawning.
Although I'm kind of glad you did, to be honest, because I can get so much more done today. I've already done the washing. I've done, I've already hung that up. Had a shower, had a cup of tea. I'm all good.
Nice.
I'm ready for the day, and I can get loads done if I want to.
No, totally. Totally, mate. Totally. And even if you stay, and even if you had nap later, you've already done more, haven't you? So
I guess so. Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah,
so you'll have to. It's one of those. I feel like, dude, I don't know about you. I've listened to podcasts and shit where they're using this.
Do you know what's funny? I don't know if you've ever listened to the Adam Buxton podcast.
Yeah, when he's walking with the dog in the morning.
Around, but the thing is, he's walking around Norwich, so you're basically doing an Adam Buxton right now.
I'm doing an Adam Buxton.
You totally are. And you even look like him a little bit, to be honest.
That I get that, and also I'm I've got cars near me though, so it's a little bit less.
Yeah, he's tranquil. Usually in a field, I think, with his dog.
Yeah.
So there we are.
So, but yeah, no, you're totally right, mate. So, which is what it is, and I think it could be good fun.
I think I'll be the one looking at the doc today, won't I?
I was just about. You read my mind.
Yeah,
as per usual.
I got it up.
Nice. Okay. All right. I have got my topic, by the way. I just didn't write it down, and I checked the news as well. So we should be good to go whenever you want to start. I guess if you'd like to. I mean, it's been just a quick prelude, Jay. I feel like I haven't spoken to you in like 10 years.
Oh, really? I mean, it's been about 3 weeks since the last time we recorded. So.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It doesn't feel that long. It feels like the last couple of weeks have gone by super quick.
That's true also.
I'm just sort of like wishing the days away, just so I can get to playing some stuff that's gonna be coming out,
Oh, okay, sure. So like, all right. Well, also we'll talk about what you're playing and stuff. But you're just looking forward to the later half of the year now, are you?
Yeah. As soon as October rolls around, I'm gonna be off.
Okay.
October's where it begins, to be honest. Well, actually, that's a lie. September might be, to be honest, depending on whether I buy it or not. I don't know.
Sure. So I've got a field, and I'm going to walk around it for less traffic noise, and you just have to let me know whether
the signal's any good. Well, you'd think that if you're in a big open area and there aren't too many trees, it's not too bad.
Oh, really? Is that a thing?
I don't know. Probably not.
I don't know how it works, truth be told.
Who knows?
All right. I'm ready when you are, boss man.
Okay. Do you want me to begin with my topic? Oh, I just have like a bunch of stuff to talk about, to be honest.
Okay, sure.
Like lots of little
Let's go
bits.
for
So
it.
I'll just start with like what I've been playing or not playing, I should say, really.
Okay, all right.
Because I haven't really played that much. I'd say about 2 weeks ago, maybe even 2.5 weeks ago now, I sort of like dabbled in a bunch of stuff. But since then, all I've been doing is like watching films and like catching up on stuff.
What sort of films?
I'm currently rewatching Harry Potter.
Oh, sick, mate.
I rewatched Arrival.
Fantastic film.
Yeah,
What Harry Potter are you up to?
I'm literally on the last one, so I'm gonna watch the last one today.
Part 2?
Yeah.
Cool, okay. Quick thoughts then on that, Jay. So I rewatched them with India over lockdown, I think, like 2020 or whatever. My opinion is the first two do have a sort of magical element to them, being the first two, Christopher Columbus and all that. Then the third one's obviously just phenomenal. Also, the only one without Voldemort as a villain, just FYI. And then Goblet of Fire, obviously, it's this huge fucking event. And I always said to India, like, when you get to that graveyard scene, it just changes the series forever.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
as soon as that happens, the whole thing's different. Yeah, that makes sense.
Literally. And then I would say 5, 6, 7, 1, and 2 are probably the best made, but do lack a little bit of heart, should we say? But anyway, I want to hear your thoughts.
It's weird. Rewatching them is sort of. I'm looking at it at a slightly different lens now, of like more of like it's. I genuinely don't know if there's something wrong with me, but I feel like the older I get, the harder it is for me to enjoy movies in general.
Okay.
I don't know why. There's something that's like I feel like I've lost that wonder, that that sort of like ignorance to movies that allows me to completely get lost in them sometimes. It's starting to
like
fade.
you can't quite let go a little bit.
I mean, I can
to like just relax and enjoy it.
It's just sometimes I get taken out of it more than I should do. I think, I don't know. That might just be a me problem.
Are you going on your phone and stuff?
No.
Okay.
I think it just depends, honestly. I think it's more of like I'm just starting to. I think when I watched so many movies as when I was younger, that I sort of had this preconceived notion of how I remember them, and then having rewatched them, it sort of like changed it a little bit. Not for the worse necessarily, but just giving me a bit more of an adult perspective versus a child's perspective.
Sure.
And I wouldn't say it's
that
worse
makes sense
necessarily, just different.
Okay. What else have you been watching then?
Oh god. Just like a bunch of movies that I haven't seen, basically. It's been so, I don't know. There's literally too many to choose from. I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember what I watched.
Films, or more sort of Disney orientated films and Marvel films, or like, you know what I'm saying?
Films. I'm trying to remember what I. Oh, I watched Old. Do you remember Old? The M. Night Shyamalan movie that came out last year.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Not the best, but not the worst. Interesting.
Fair enough.
Interesting twist.
Yeah, so, I looked up the.
Go on.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Go on.
I was just gonna say I looked up the plot for that because I wasn't gonna watch it, but yeah, I thought it was interesting.
Not bad actually. I mean, it's good if you want to like skip around all the boring bits again.
Oh, Jay, sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you again. Sorry.
Please.
Have you seen The Village?
Yeah, so that's on my list of stuff to watch.
Okay, all right. Give me a shout when you do.
Yeah, I'll be interested I still want to know what the twist is, but we'll get there. Yeah. So other than that, game-wise, because we are a game podcast.
Yeah.
I played maybe the first 4 hours of God of War. Maybe.
Code Blue. We have a Code Blue. Okay. Yeah.
That was fun. I could definitely see myself playing that a lot more. I'll get back around to it eventually.
Okay. Are we talking about 2018? Yeah.
Yeah, the older one. Yeah.
Okay. Wait.
Well, okay. I say the most recent release of God of War.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. All good.
Yeah, I played that for a little while just to see if I was like actually able to play it, and I was kind of surprised at how good it was actually. Which I'm glad. I'm glad I had lower expectations going into it because it made it all much better that way.
Good.
Another game that came out, Multiverses. Do you know this one?
Yeah, dude. I've been seeing a lot about this.
The WB free-to-play Smash clone, I guess you could call it.
Yeah. Totally.
It now has 10 million. This is like part of the news. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
put it in there. It now has 10 million players, or like 10 million games that have been downloaded and played. Is what I should say.
Oh,
So
shit.
10 million
Sorry,
people have played the
there's a
game.
guy fucking. He's about to fucking put some white lines on the field and mow the lawn or some shit. I mean, the lawn's fucking dead, mate. Oh, Christ, it's so loud.
That's
One
alright.
sec, mate.
It's good. It's
Jesus
fine. It's not that
Christ.
bad, honestly.
Oh, trust me, it'll get worse.
I'm surprised
Jesus
your buddy's
Christ.
signal has stayed good this whole time.
Well, to be fair, I've got 3 bars in the field, so I'll probably just stick around.
Yeah,
I
might be a
suppose.
good idea, honestly.
Sorry, mate. So yeah, so this has got 10 million players. Did you say?
Yeah, 10
Is that
million
concurrent?
people. No, so concurrent players. It's funny. The only statistics we have for concurrent players is on the Steam version, which is around 140,000 people.
What people, Jay?
Yeah, that's more than. Well, let's just say this. This is the most successful fighting game in history, I think. In terms of like its beginning, like month of being out, at least.
Sure. That's crazy.
It's a fighting game, I think, with the most concurrent players, and sustained current players too, because most fighting games tend to dip off after the first 2 to 4 weeks.
So are you playing it?
Yeah, I got pretty hardcore into it actually for like a couple days, just to sort of like make sure that I was actually able to play it. It's pretty fun. I'm not playing it like all the time. It's the kind of game that you should play every day, because there's like dailies you can do to unlock part of the battle pass or whatever.
Sure. Being free to play and all that.
It's fun, and it's easy just to jump back into whenever you want. So definitely worthwhile. And I have a feeling. I mean, it was even at Buddy Evo, for God's sake, and it's only been out a month.
Gee.
Like,
so like, go on.
It's the first time that I think a fighting game has come out and been at Evo within like that little of a time. And it also had the biggest prize pool at Evo ever as well, I think.
Do you think that's part and parcel because it's quite new sort of thing?
Well,
so,
no, I think it's just because it's so successful and popular. Like, so many people are playing it.
Fair.
Like, it's kind of insane how well it's doing. And there's a lot of talk in the community, and there has been for a long time, about fighting game pricing. And about how the reason why most fighting games tend not to do that well is because of the pricing. Like, it's just, 50 to 60 quid to buy a fighting game. And a lot of people don't really want to have to put that much investment in just to see if they like the game or not. They'd rather just have it be super cheap or free to play with some sort of monetization.
I get that. I think that does link very quickly to the likes of Elden Ring being priced at 50 or 55 quid, and the fact that FromSoft get those games out every sort of 2-3 years, or 4 years in Elden Ring's case, and no, 3, sorry, 3, and then also, how does that relate to the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl game thing? Was that 20-30 quid or?
Yeah, that was 33 quid, I think. It was like 32.99.
So is that probably a bit too expensive for that kind of like AA fighting game, or?
I think had it been maybe 25 or 26, it might have been a bit more better priced. But I think what's happened specifically with these two games, Multiverses and the Nickelodeon thing, is obviously the Nickelodeon thing, I think, was like a test to see whether or not people actually still wanted that kind of game. And then obviously the pricing was another test to see if it was possible to sell well. And then this Multiverses game is sort of like a test on whether or not free to play actually works. And I have a feeling that Multiverses is kind of going through a bit of a Fortnite moment right now, where what'll happen is it'll blow up and it'll sustain its current trajectory for many years to come. And I have a feeling that it'll sort of get so I don't think it'll get Fortnite levels, but it'll definitely get close. I have a feeling.
You think it is going to be the next big thing?
I think in the fighting
always
game
difficult to say.
It's very difficult to say. But for the fact that it's already had 10 million people play it, I mean, most fighting games don't get that after like years of being out, to be honest.
Sure, but then could you argue, we've had other games peak, like not fighting games, but the likes of Outriders, which is a little bit more dead now. So like, is it just a case of like a quick peak, a quick fall? I'm just question.
I don't know. I mean, it's been out since it's been out about a month, and it's still over 100,000 concurrent on Steam, and that's not including console. I think most of the players. I mean, if you're thinking about it, if only 150,000 people are playing it on Steam, that must mean that millions of people are playing it across PlayStation and Xbox. like at least 4.5 mil on both.
Sure.
So I mean, just given the fact that Guilty Gear, which is another very very popular fighting game, it came out actually a little over a year ago, only now reached 1 million games sold. And that game,
And that's a popular one.
It's very popular, and it was priced at I think when it first came out it might have been 60, but it's now somewhere around 45.
Okay.
So that's the difference. Like 10 million players playing it for free with monetization, or only 1 million players playing it, and probably most of those aren't even playing it anymore at a price.
Well,
so
how does that compare to the likes of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat? Because I know Mortal Kombat sells very well.
Yeah, Mortal
and
Kombat
I'm sure
and Street Fighter are probably they're probably the best selling fighting games of all time, honestly.
Sure.
And we're also getting a lot of Street Fighter 6 news at the minute. They've already shown off some new characters, because Evo was last weekend, and Evo, for people who don't know, is basically like the World Cup of fighting game tournaments, essentially. Like, it's where they bring, like, I think 9 or 10 fighting games, and people can battle it through until the grand finals to be able to win a trophy and some money, preferably. But they tend to show off a lot of fighting game news at Evo. If there's any new characters released, or any sort of update for a game, or like a new game that's coming, they'll show it at Evo most of the time. It's sort of like the place where most people are going to want to watch that kind of stuff. And they actually did a lot of announcements for like new content and updates and stuff.
What's interesting about this is that I do think, depending on the meta and substance of it, I think Street Fighter 6 could blow up too.
It will. Street Fighter 6 is probably going to way outsell Street Fighter 5, I have a feeling. It's just they've totally. Completely not completely changed the game, but they've made it different enough for it to be more interesting. And the game looks, it must be on. They're actually using the Resident Evil engine.
Really?
Yeah, Capcom have said that they're not going to bother with Unreal. They're just going to stick to their own Resident Evil one. And it's paying off because it looks amazing.
Sure.
It looks like the amount of detail they've even like got detail about like this kind of stuff. You can see all this kind of stuff on the in-game models, like the sort of moving of muscles and stuff. It's insane.
So, what I need to understand from you, Jay, is what is making multiverses blow up like this? Is it the characters that you play?
Yeah, I think is it
the
meta?
Mixture? Is it is it obviously the free to play aspect of it helps as well?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination of free to play, so it's people can just come in, try it, see if they like it. If they don't, they can dip out again, right? And you have to pay a single penny. The good thing about this is you can there's definitely some content you can't buy with in-game currency, but the in-game currency isn't that hard to come by, and you can definitely unlock most of the characters. Not quickly, but you'd probably have to spend about a month to unlock maybe half the roster. Probably. Like it would definitely take a while.
Like without paying, sorry.
Yeah, without paying, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's a mixture of that, and also the roster isn't the best, but it's not the worst. And they do plan on adding like a bunch of new characters, much in the way that Smash has like 100 characters now. Multiverses has about 16 currently, and I think they're going to be adding at least another 16 over the next year. Maybe longer, I don't know. And a lot of the characters they are going to be adding potentially are very, very popular. I mean, the new characters that are coming out in the next few weeks are Rick and Morty.
Right, okay.
Like they've got some pretty cool, like decent characters. I mean, they've got like Bugs Bunny. They've even got Arya Stark from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Because they are technically under the Warner, umbrella, I guess.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you about this, right? So, when this got revealed, am I right in thinking that everyone was sort of like, "Oh, a fighting, a Smash Bros clone, like, oh, looks all right."
I think a lot of people were pretty excited. I think they were just more skeptical about it being free to play. Because most people scoff at free to play. If someone hears, like, most gamers, when they hear free to play, go, it's not going to be that good.
Sure.
Like, why would they release a game that's free to play if it was any good? But I think Multiverses is the epitome of the fact that free to play can be successful. And a lot of people in the fighting game community, are talking now about how fighting games might potentially in the future be able to have either a less price or like a free to play sort of model that can work. Because if it can work for Multiverses, it might be able to work for other companies as well. other games as well. So that's
Sure.
the hope, at least, because I mean, the fighting game community, while it's pretty big now, and it definitely has been smaller before, it definitely could be a lot bigger if they want. I mean, I think most people in the fighting game community just kind of want more people, more eyes, and more people buying that kind of stuff, so that the budget for later fighting games is better, and that
Sure.
the technology
To be
is
honest
better in
with
the
you,
future as well.
I think if that is going to happen, I think, which is contrary to a lot of things we discuss about, I think we probably need a little bit more accessibility in it, right? Because like I
Yeah, I
like
mean
the
they're
look
definitely
of
doing
Street
stuff with
Fighter
that.
6, but like it depends on how accessible being able to get not amazing at the game but good at the game, right?
Okay, well,
If
do you
I
want me to
can
tell you
get if I
how? Because
go on,
they've already answered your question. Um, Street Fighter 6 has implemented something, so this is kind of like the caveat, I guess, where they've got a classic mode and a modern mode. So
okay,
classic mode is basically like how Street Fighter always is, with like movements and button presses, right?
yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
classic mode is where you only have to press a
Do
direction
you
and a
modern mode?
button.
Sorry,
Yeah, modern mode is where you only have to press
yeah,
one
yeah.
direction and a button. So the what's called execution of a move is a lot easier versus how it would be in the classic. The downside of that is, though, that they want to sort of wean you off of the modern mode if you're a newer player, because they only give you access to about 2/3 of the moves versus the entirety of the move pool of one character. So let's say a character had 9
Right,
moves. If you played on classic, you'd better use all 9, but if you were playing on modern, you'd only be able to use 6.
right, makes
So they're
sense.
basically giving you less tools to make you want to get better at the game and use the classic mode later on.
Well, that
So it's
sounds
almost
very
like
exciting,
training
Jay.
wheels, basically. It's kind of like training wheels that they're, so
Yeah,
that's
I
their way
like
of fixing the accessibility for the game.
I like the sound of that, and I know I'm probably talking out my ass here, but that kind of sounds like the easy difficulty settings on Bayonetta, where you would do essentially like an end of a combo move, like right, just using the main buttons sort of
Yeah, I
thing, and it
mean it's
made you
very
feel
similar.
awesome.
Yeah, very similar
So
concept.
no, that sounds really interesting. So yeah, Jake, what's up next on the list for you?
It's honestly, well, there's one pretty big thing. The new AC update. I don't know if you've played it. I imagine you probably haven't because you've been so busy.
Yeah, and frankly, dude, the only time I realized it was out was because I saw you were playing it, and I
Well,
was
there
like,
we
oh
go.
shit, that dropped. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Have you so yeah, have you played it
I
much?
have.
Like,
It's
or
basically Hades but for AC.
okay,
So
all
it's
right.
a
So
roguelite essentially. There's 4 bosses. There's 3 bosses and then the end boss.
how do you start out with shit gear then or
Yeah, so you
something?
basically
Or
start out with nothing. You have no skills in your skill tree. Um,
right.
You have like no, you have like bare minimum weapons, the usual. Actually, on my first
Sure.
playthrough, my first and only playthrough, because I didn't really bother to play any more since then. I will come back to it because I really want to like upgrade my skill tree. My first playthrough, I managed to get to the third boss, so I almost got to the end. I got pretty
Third was that,
lucky.
sorry.
Huh?
Did you say first or third?
Third.
Okay.
There's 4
Oh, that's
bosses. I almost got to the end. The only reason I died because the third boss has 3 stages, and I didn't
wow, that's
realize. I thought
cool.
it only had 2 stages, so I died in the third. I was like, oh bugger. Okay.
That's fair. Well, what's
Um,
interesting about that, Jay, is that like because you got to the third boss on the third playthrough, I'm hoping it's not
first
too drawn
playthrough.
out. Third. Wait, what? I thought you
Third
said
boss,
third.
first playthrough.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping then it's not too drawn out. I guess
No, I'd
in
say
terms of
it
a
took
game
me about
mode.
an hour to get that far,
Okay. All right.
roughly.
Does
So
it
I'd
does it
say
feel like a bit thin? Does it feel a bit? You know what I mean?
not necessarily. I think the good thing about it is that there is a skill tree, so you can like what you do is once you get enough of the currency that you build up while playing the game mode, you can unlock parts of the skill tree, and the skill tree will give you better starting weapons, better chance of being able to get more currency in the game, and like stuff like that, like being able to upgrade stuff like that.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
So I
Sure. Sure.
reckon maybe maybe your first 5 playthroughs might take you an hour and a half to get to the end, whereas your sixth and onwards will probably take you under an hour, just because it'll be a lot more. You'll obviously know what the maps are like, and then you'll also be able to have a better. You'll be able to do more damage, stuff like that.
Sure.
I think
Sure.
that's the sort of the general consensus, I'd say.
Dude, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think this guy's cutting the grass, and I got to tell you, it looks like the Mojave Desert. I don't know why.
Well, it's
Anyway,
because we're in a bloody
um,
drought right now.
yeah, you know exactly. Yeah. Okay, so are you? What's your sitch with that then? Are you gonna finish it? Are you gonna get the achievements for it?
I
Like,
did actually
what's?
get. I got 1 or 2 achievements while playing my first playthrough. It's funny. My mind is all over the place with games at the minute. I kind of want to play. I want to finish off Ghost of Tsushima New Game Plus because I'm pretty sure I haven't finished that yet.
Sick. You finished the island though, didn't you? We did
I
a
did, yeah.
podcast on it, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I also want to go back play God of War. I want to go back and play the AC update. There's a bunch of stuff I want to sort of like tap into, but I'm all over the place at the minute, you know.
Sure, sure.
I mean, well, I think for like July and August and September is sort of that the middle of the year, and a lot of the time it's a bit of a sort of like a buffer to sort of just have a bit of a fun in between waiting for the next lot of stuff to come out.
I get anxious, Jay, because like I feel like I'm not being able to use this summertime effectively at really getting through a lot of the back catalogue games I've got at the moment, right? So like I've got more than I want to say games ready to play, ready to finish, and I just haven't had the time to play them, and it pisses me off because I know that there's going to be games coming out soon, like new ones that I might want to play, you know, God of War Ragnarok, and it's like, oh man, because usually summer you can just bash, and then I was looking at the notes for the show, and I'm like, oh, I can't even write a game for my topics. I haven't even finished anything yet, you know. So yeah, no,
It's whatever, you know.
yeah,
I
I
think we
know.
are in that weird spot where we're just sort of like, you know, trying to play what we can versus necessarily finish anything or whatever it might be.
True.
So,
True.
um,
So yeah, what else is on your list?
I mean, that's pretty much it. I guess the only other two thing is just about Gotham Knights and like their IGN are doing the whole month of like behind the scenes content for Gotham Knights right now.
Cool.
So they showed off a 16-minute gameplay video. They showed off what a bunch of the in-game cosmetics are going to look like, and then they also showed off what the sort of the map is going to look like as well, and like a bunch of other stuff behind all that. So that's getting me incredibly hyped for the game right now.
Totally. No, I mean that's lining up to be one of the biggest games of the year, right? Just naturally from releases.
I think it's going to be pretty big, to be honest. What I've seen of the map, apparently the map is the biggest Batman game to date. So.
Okay. Do you thoughts on this possibly getting delayed? Like definitely not.
No, Gotham Knights won't get delayed, but we'll talk about delays in a little while.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will.
I guess last thing is just that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have had a lot of leaks, and they also had a Pokemon Presents.
So sorry, were the leaks before the Presents?
No, leaks are constant. There's like a whole community here surrounding the leaks, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. The big thing was we got some official news about 10 days ago. There was a Pokemon Presents, and they showed up a bunch of new stuff for the game, like new Pokemon and stuff like that.
Okay.
And we also now know what the region is called as well. So.
Go on.
It's called Paldea.
Paldea. That sounds alright.
It's based in Spain, so it's all Spanish influenced stuff.
What do the new Pokemon look like then?
There's a whale Pokemon.
We've already got one, haven't we?
There's a bunch of Pokemon that are the same animal. I won't worry about that. I think we've got about 10 or 12 different dog Pokemon. There's so many. There is a new dog called Fido, which is basically like a bread dog. It's really odd looking.
Okay.
And I think that was the only two they showed off. And then they showed off like a gym leader as well. Just, you know, a bunch of like little tidbits. Oh, hello, your video's gone.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just trying to. What's the time, Jay? Just want to check the time.
7:53.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, I think that's it for my topics. Did you want to move on to the news, and then we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about?
Yeah, totally. Let's do it.
Okay. I guess we might as well start with the delays for this year.
Sure.
I'm actually very happy about both of these because it also gives me time to like not spend too much money, I guess, throughout the year.
Oh yeah, sure. Sure. Do you mind if I give a shout out to the only news story I contributed then, which is one of these delays?
Yeah, go for it.
So, as I predicted months and months ago, Hogwarts Legacy has been delayed till February 2023, I believe.
February is a good month because I'm pretty sure that's when the new Street Fighter comes out as well.
Very good. That's when Horizon traditionally has come out as well. I think both Horizons actually.
Yeah,
so
Elden Ring came out in February. February is usually a good month. I don't know what it is about February. It's usually a really, really good gaming month. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hogwarts Legacy is good. I wasn't watching the Harry Potters to like get ready for it, but when I thought about it, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Like I'm kind of in the Harry Potter mood now.
Right. Dude, like you though, right? I am so happy this got delayed. So happy.
Yeah, I think me and you have gotten to the point now where anytime we hear about a delay, we're more happy about it than we are annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Because I think
go on.
I think the current trend for games right now is to release them early and then patch them, as they get released. Fix things while it's almost like a beta test before a release or whatever. But they're releasing it as a beta test, but not calling it a beta test. And so anytime we hear about a delay now, we're kind of like, oh, thank God, the game's actually getting the love and care it deserves most of the time. Because I have a feeling that Legacy was probably, I reckon they maybe only set themselves a month of polish and went, we need to give it more. So I reckon it's going to get probably closer to 6 months of polish now.
Which I really hope is the case, right, Jay? Because like you say, like that's months of work, which should hopefully help. And it's a very ambitious game, and it's the Harry Potter game we all want, right? So
it really is. We've all been waiting for this since we were like 6 years old.
Exactly.
So it's a long. Exactly. I mean, it's been 20 years we've been waiting for this game.
So I'm hoping that it really will. Like, I'm not expecting a Rockstar polish. That's Rockstar before the GTA trilogy. But I or a Naughty Dog polish. But I'm expecting it to not be a Bethesda game on launch, shall we say?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a comparison I can make.
Oh fucking hell! He's gotten the driver out, mate. Jesus Christ! I was like, oh, he's done now. He's done with this little handheld.
We're gonna buddy title this podcast Nick like escaping the bloody lawnmower or something. I don't know.
Oh my mate, it's so. Let me see if I can swap the camera. This is fucking ridiculous. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Ludicrous. Can you see that in the?
Yeah. Okay.
In the far distance.
I can't really see much, but it is
huge,
dead.
Yellow tank. So dead. Look.
Yeah, that's completely gone.
No, in the grass.
That's what happens when you have rain for a month.
Yeah, literally. Literally.
Yeah, so Hogwarts Legacy, I'm super hyped about. I'm definitely getting that day one, 100%.
Really?
It's weird. If the game had come out this year, I might not have got it day one.
Sure, but then you would have played a better game anyway after it was patched. Let's be honest. You
know? I guess I'm kind of hoping that this delay is almost like playing the game had it been released 6 months prior, when it does actually come out. Like it'll be like, oh, the game's actually like running well. Because Hogwarts Legacy doesn't. I feel like a lot of games nowadays, you can look at a game and go, oh, that's not going to be polished. Like just from like even the trailers, you can be, oh, when that release date, nah, that's not going to look good. But now that I've seen that it's going to get the delay, I'm very happy. And then I guess we can move on to the next delay, which I'm also very happy about, which is Marvel's Midnight Suns. I'm not sure exactly when it's getting delayed to. I know it's definitely next year, but I'm not sure when it's delayed.
Am I right in saying, Jay, have we seen gameplay for this yet?
Oh yeah, we've seen a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
It says it's coming out before the end of the fiscal year, which is on the 31st of 2023. So it'll be out in the first 3 months of next year.
So in that case then, well, okay, so I'm already a bit worried about that sort of language, because that makes me think we're getting out at the last possible moment, if that makes sense.
If it came out like end of March, that'd be fine, I think.
You think? Okay. So that opens up your year quite a bit, right? Those two games, because those were two on your radar.
They were games that I was debating on buying because I already was going to spend so much on other games. But now that I can like spread myself out a bit, I've now got the possibility of buying those two in the future.
Sure.
Because I tend not to want to buy like a full price game more than once every like 1 or 2 months, really.
Sure.
Like that's sort of like my limit. I don't really want to spend more than like 60 quid on a game, on one particular game, over the course of more than 1 or 2 months. So that's sort of my limit. But I'm already spread pretty thin when it comes to games for this year, because I'm still debating. There's 2 games that I'm still debating on getting, and that's Steel Rising, the robot French Revolution Souls-like, which looks
Souls-like,
amazing.
yeah.
And it's actually got early access. If you buy the game early, you can play it like 2 weeks before it even comes out, which is insane. Which I'm very tempted to do. I think you can actually play it end of this month, so I'm tempted to buy it that soon.
Gem might be a broken mess.
I know.
Just
I've got to
saying,
wait for some more
watch out for
gameplay.
that.
I'm going to watch out. Don't worry. And then Skull and Bones is the other one that I'm still like debating on whether to get.
Sure.
Because I really badly
Again, keep a close eye on
really
that.
badly want a good enough pirate game. You know, I need it.
I hear you, bro. We want Sid Meier's Pirates too, right? Imagine how big that game would be.
I mean, to me, this game is almost like a mixture between One Piece and like AC Black Flag. That's kind of like my thinking behind it.
See, I saw it more of a mix of Sea of Thieves and Black Flag.
Well, the One Piece aspect, just because I'm a massive fan of One Piece and it's all about pirates, you know.
Sure.
And you can become Kingpin. Like that's just like to me, that's the fact that you can like go up in the ladder is just I love, and the fact that there's like an end game once you become Kingpin, it's just like it's insane.
Sure.
That blows my mind. Like the one thing I'm not a fan of when it comes to these kind of games is a lot of times you have to defend your title. And if you don't play the game for a certain amount of time, you might lose your progress. I'm not sure if there's like a decay. What they call that progress decay. I'm hoping there's no progress decay. Is what I'm saying.
That sounds annoying.
That'd be very annoying. They have that actually in a lot of fighting games. If like online ranks, if you don't play the game for a month, they just like take away all your progress. Oh, I hate that so much.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
So what's up next, Jay, on the news?
Let's have a look. This is interesting news. You might be fairly interested. The license behind Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Has MGM have lost the rights basically, and they're the ones who did the movie.
Film. Yeah.
And I imagine they might even own maybe the rights to do with the games too. I'm not sure. But
I want to say Warner Brothers own that, but I could be wrong. But go on.
I think isn't MGM part of Warner Brothers? Isn't that
like
all under the same umbrella?
I don't know, truth be told, mate.
I was just curious of your opinion on whether you'd want to see something else come out of the Tomb Raider franchise. You know, like is there any hope that you'd like to see something new from that?
Movie-wise, mate, or game-wise?
Both. We'll say both.
Okay, so I played. I didn't really play much of the originals yet. Elle had Angel of Darkness, which apparently was a notoriously bad game, but a bit of a cult following because it was the first one on PS2, I believe. Never played the originals, and then I played the reboot because I've heard so much about it and it sold so well, right? So played the reboot, really liked it. Played Rise of the Tomb Raider, liked that even more. I found it a little bit more traditional Tomb Raider, Lara Croft. Never played the third of the trilogy, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because it was made by a different studio, not Crystal Dynamics. And I did hear mixed things, and I just thought, and I've actually got it on PlayStation, but again, I was, you know what I mean? So maybe I owe that trilogy to finish that at some point. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. But
yeah, I need to go back and play it as well.
Dude, long and short of it is, good question, Jay. I really don't know. I really don't know.
I've looked at the article a bit more here. So apparently the movie rights is what has been shifted around, but the gaming rights seem to still be owned by the people who the people who, because Crystal Dynamics got bought out by Embracer.
That's right. Yeah.
I think, or like a company that took up like a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And then currently they're now working on a new Lara Croft game in Unreal Engine 5. So
yeah, they did announce that a few weeks ago.
At some point.
Yeah, I guess it's just a case of, because they did that rebooted trilogy. It's like, do you go more with that, or do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Also, that's the thing. I feel like the Lara Croft's sort of been done so much over the last decade that they kind of want to give it a bit of a break, don't they?
Like,
I feel like it's already been done.
You say that, Jay, but by the time this game comes out, it'll probably be 5 years.
Yeah, well, let's just hope that it's going to be like a couple of years till this thing comes out at least.
I think so, mate.
You've actually put the Tomb Raider games on my radar, because I definitely own. I think I own like a definitive collection, but whether it's like
all
the
three
first game, or if it's just all three. I have to check whether whether
You
I've got
might
it.
own the definitive edition of the first reboot because it was a Games with Gold,
Yeah, I either
which is
have it on
how I
Games with
played
Gold
it.
or I had it on PlayStation Plus. It's one of the two. I have to double check, but
Right,
I
okay.
definitely have
I'm on the
that.
main
The
road now, Jay,
facilities.
so just bear with me, okay?
All right. Well, you've been
I
great
just
so
need
far, so
I need to change field. I'm getting bored.
might be
Yeah. Oh,
available.
that's interesting. Well, let me know which ones you have. I personally would absolutely play the reboot and then Rise of Tomb Raider. Rise of Tomb Raider isn't quite as beloved as the reboot because I think obviously it's the first and it was quite different. So anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, I might actually download that later and give it a bit of a go. We'll see.
I feel like for you, Jay, Tomb Raider's like Perfect Dark. I suppose you're just a bit like on Gears, where you're just a
No,
bit
it
like.
isn't. Tomb Raider I've always loved. I played it on the PS1 and the PS2, and I still think that the movies that came out with Angelina Jolie, I've probably watched both of those movies like 100 times each.
Oh
I fell in
wow.
love with those movies as a kid. So you'd think that
Sure.
I'd fall in love with the games, but I've sort of almost somewhat deliberately not bothered with the games so that I can come back to them and maybe go through them all at once, kind of thing. Much like
What
how I
even
did with
like
the
the
HD games.
OGs or?
No,
Oh, you mean
just
like the
the more
reboot?
recent ones. I want to go and
Yeah,
see which
yeah.
ones are actually like if there's a I want to like see if there's a story because I imagine there's three Tomb Raider games that came out in the last decade, right?
Yeah.
And they all follow the same story, or are they not the
Yeah, yeah.
same?
They're part of a trilogy.
They're a
Yeah.
trilogy. Okay, yeah, I'll check that out then. I'll check that out and give you
Yeah. So
an update.
just to give you an idea, this was so cool, still is cool. So when the trailer for the second one came out, Rise of the Tomb Raider, it was basically a trailer of Lara in a therapy session about the events of the first game.
Oh, okay, that's
That's,
interesting.
so I thought it was pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
I think
What's
that
next, mate?
the topic
Oh,
of
go on.
today
Sorry.
is all about movies because we want to go about movies again. There's going to be a Ghost of Tsushima movie. It is in the works currently.
Okay.
I think they're in
Okay.
pre-production, so they're sort of figuring out what they want to do with it. But apparently, it's going to be completely Japanese.
I mean,
So
that'd
the
be
language is
awesome.
going to be Japanese, and all the actors are going to be Japanese, which is thumbs up from me. I wouldn't
Yeah, that
want it any
sounds
other way.
sick.
If they had hired American actors or like Asian Americans is fine. But if it had been any other kind of actor other than an Asian actor, I would have been pissed off. Let's just say that because it's
Yeah,
it's a
totally.
Japanese game, for fuck's sake. Like it's set in feudal Japan. It has to be Japanese.
Jay, since we've opened the casket on that sort of thing, right? So we're talking about whatever we want to now, in
Yes.
terms of politics and stuff. I think what's interesting, right, is that usually it is this crazy left wing thing saying, like, oh, there's whitewashing.
Yeah.
But this is one of the only occasions where I kind of agree, where I'm like, yeah, it is weird to get Scarlett Johansson in that Ghost in the Shell. Like, that's just weird.
It's funny. I actually didn't mind the Ghost in the Shell thing, but I would have preferred if the whole movie had been Japanese.
Sure.
I would have much preferred it. I would have preferred it if the language Japanese. But the only reason they did that is to make more money. You know that. We both know that.
Totally.
But
yes.
yes,
Scarlett Johansson film, yeah, I'll go see that.
yeah, exactly.
People
The
are
only reason
stupid.
they did that is for the name and the money. They knew they were going to make more money if they did that.
Same with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, right? In the Uncharted film, people are going to go see Tom Holland. Simple as.
Oh yeah, same thing. It wasn't that good of a movie. It definitely has potential though for later on.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm glad they're making it because I'm kind of glad they're doing anything with Ghosts at this point. Because I'm pretty sure. What's the name of the company who made Ghosts? Sucker Punch, right?
Sucker Punch, yeah.
Do we know if they're making anything else currently?
Well, we know they are, dude. Right? Remember, because we had a few stories about them hiring people.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn. So I mean, I still think they're going to make a sort of Ghost-like sequel. I'm not sure you were quite as convinced, right?
Yeah, it's tough.
I
don't really see how they can. I think the only way they can is if they just continue telling like Japanese history games, basically.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Like if they did another Japanese game, but if it was based on the mainland and it was to do with the emperors and stuff, like I'd love all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Just more samurai.
So what's next, mate?
Yeah. So the last thing is Gamescom, Xbox Gamescom. They're apparently going to have a 6-hour live stream showing off a bunch of stuff.
They have a long live stream every year, don't they?
I guess so, but I just forgot that it was even a thing.
Well, Gamescom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't actually know when it is. Let's
I
have a
think it's
look.
in August sometime. I want to say.
Yeah, I can't actually tell. But I don't know if this what they're showing off is just going to be what we've already seen and just like a you know. Oh, it is end of August. Yeah, it's August 25th to 28th.
So to set your expectations, Jay, it definitely
Yeah,
is. It's
I'm
not
keeping
like
them super low, super low.
yeah, it's not a showcase per se. I think they might be having a showcase, but it's not that. A live stream will be, you know, here's a look at Gotham Knights with the developers, and here's a look at some of these ID Xbox games coming on Xbox, and all, you know, this sort of typical post live stream stuff. I would say, you know what I'm saying?
It's funny. There's actually another good thing. Would you say that some games, when they have their marketing, sort of tend to sway more towards one console in their sort of like showing of the game?
Totally, mate.
What would you say Gotham Knights is showing more towards?
Oh,
Because
good question.
I don't think I've seen sort of like an Xbox or a PlayStation leaning side of the game. I think it's been either or.
No, agreed, but I can't even remember which showcase it
I
was
was
at,
gonna
which is
say,
weird.
yeah, I might have to have a look.
Because usually, like Resident Evil, for instance, you like PlayStation, like because it's always marketed at PlayStation. So that's really interesting you say that because I don't. Yeah, usually it's one or the other, or Nintendo, obviously.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Weird.
Where was it first shown off?
Like revealed even.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say a state of. Was it not the same? It was E3, surely, and it was revealed with Suicide Squad, wasn't it?
The world premiere, I think, might have been on PlayStation. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm now looking. It was shown off about 2 years ago on a PlayStation State of Play. It looks like.
Right. That was gonna be my bets, but yeah, I didn't know.
Fair enough. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Should we move on to my topic, Jay?
Please, yeah.
Also, just give you guys a heads up. Obviously, there is no games today to play at the end of the show because I'm in the field.
We're just doing a little quick something.
Okay, so Jay, you've got two choices.
Okay.
So we've got AC Valhalla Dawn of Ragnarok, which we still need to cover.
Yes, we do.
Or we've got general chat about delays.
We'll go with the second one. We'll come back to
specifically
AC, we'll probably do that for a bigger show.
Okay, no worries. So, general delays, Jay. So, want to talk about this obviously because we have got Midnight Suns and Hogwarts Legacy delayed. As you said, our general attitude now is yes, the game has more time, right?
Yeah, always a good thing now. Always a good thing.
Right.
Always.
So I want to discuss it for a few reasons. Obviously, we've got the general kind of chatter that we've had about delays that we've had for 15, 20, 25 years now, which is the general, like a bit like our attitude really, which is like, well, hopefully it'll be a better game, right? Blah, blah, blah. What I want to ask you about is Phil Spencer did predict this, right? During COVID, he's like, the games in 2020, 2021 might not be that impacted. But the games in 2022, 2023
I remember this,
will be impacted.
We spoke about this when you first said it. I remember that was that's so like in my mind, front of my mind constantly. I think about that a lot. I really did.
And we definitely are seeing that right now. So, what's interesting about this period? I'm not sure if I can formulate this as a question, but what's interesting about this period of delays is that one, like you say, Jay, it actually spaces out our gaming program, shall we say, where you can better pace what you're going to play and when it comes out, sort of thing, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, good.
But benefit. Also, I think it's actually extending that initial 1 to 2 year, let's call it a dry period, or like breaking in period for the new consoles, where we're going to be like. I know we've got some big games and we've had some big games this year, like very big games, and we've had big games last year. But I actually think we're not going to get a 2015, a 2017, a 2018 until like many years in the future. It seems like, right? In terms of the current console generation, because of the delays and stuff like that. I guess my question to you about it is, would you rather have this type of pace in terms of game releases and development and stuff like that, or would you rather have like really big winter periods where we're getting 8 to 10 big launches in a September to December slot, and then another 8 to 10 in a Jan to March slot or April slot? What would you rather be amongst all that hustle and bustle and activity and excitement and playing, or would you rather because you remember when you spoke about this, which is absolutely right, is that when there's a quiet period, a lot of people pay attention to games they don't usually pay attention to. Multiverses might even be one of those.
Yes,
so
100%.
yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Now, I'm definitely on the first instance where there's like maybe 3 games every 2 months rather than rather than 8 to 10 every 3 to 4. Like,
Sure.
I'd rather not have them all bunched up. I guess one reason being budget. Like, it's going to be if there's too many to choose from, I'm not going to have the time or the money to play them. And then I guess I was also going to make an observation on whether this may or may not be true. But
Please.
you said about how we're sort of extending the dry period almost.
Yeah.
I have a feeling what might happen is, because all these games are getting pushed and pushed and pushed, the releases of other games that are currently in works are almost getting pushed along with them. So much so that we might eventually have some sort of bottleneck where a bunch of games are going to want to come out, like we say, 8 to 10 in like the space of a month or two.
Right.
And there might be a bit of an issue where we're sort of getting like this big open space now where no games are coming through, but then all of a sudden lots of games want to come through this space and they're all getting sort of stuck, and the releases are getting are not going to be as successful. I think what's good about the current process and the current trend is that it gives a lot of games, both AAA and not as well known games, are they're both getting a good amount of time looked at and appreciated for what they are, versus it had that, because a lot of the times like games will we'll get 8 to 10 games come out, and a bunch of those are games that will just sort of like completely escape us. Like, we won't even know they got released because they were all in the mix of like a bunch of other AAA games that we were more interested in. So I think both Game Pass and the current trend that we currently have definitely sort of given a light to a lot of lesser known companies and games that have come out, and probably for the better, because I think one of the best things we can do is all these small game companies is give them more time and more resources to then hopefully evolve in something bigger and better in the future. So I'm very for the current trend.
Sure.
Very for it.
I guess not necessarily a counter to that, and obviously playing devil advocate here. But I think the indie, like you said, I don't think the indie development, or maybe even the AA development, maybe gets impacted as much as AAA from this period. However,
I'd say it's actually better. I'd say it's better.
I think I'd probably agree. But my question to you, Jay, is: will we get that funnel neck? Is that what? Well, anyway,
bottleneck.
Will we get
funnel,
that
whatever you want to call
bottleneck? Thank you. Yeah. Will we get that bottleneck if, say, games are becoming more expensive and take longer to make? Because I guess it'll just be like, I'm not sure we will get the bottleneck because games are just going to be longer anyway. So
in terms of
being made, so maybe maybe there is a bit of a post-COVID, like there's a few games that need to come out now, but maybe because they're all taking longer to make anyway, plus COVID impact, I don't know.
Well, me and you both know that there's always a bit of an ebb and flow when it comes to game releases. Like, there's always, whenever a new generation comes out, the first 2 to 4 years, it's always a bit slower. There's usually not many games because they're having to like develop everything, and then all of a sudden there's that 1 or 2 year, the 2017s, the 2018s, 2015s, where there's just like so many good games coming out at once that you're like, what the hell's going on? Like, it's almost a little bit like the issue with the Call of Duty thing, where the way they got around the Call of Duty releases is they got 3 companies to make a different Call of Duty game, so that every 3 years you'd have a good enough product, versus a mediocre one every year, right? And I feel like the game industry has sort of has a similar thing, but it's almost trying to like correct itself, and I think it's actually done because of COVID. It's had that chance to almost correct itself, but it's potentially almost had a chance to like completely throw itself out of balance again. In that we have a bit of a cycle in the gaming world where like every 2 years there's sort of like a dry period and then a very wet period, I guess you could call it. And it almost feels like you kind of want to balance that out, where instead of releasing a game, lots of games every 2 years, you sort of release maybe half as many games every year, so that you've still got a good amount of time spent on the game. I think we're currently getting that now, where the it's trying to correct itself, and so we're actually getting a less quality of a game. But I feel like the industry almost needs that time where there's a massive dry spell and a massive wet spell, because then it gives the chance for those games to actually get the proper amount of development they need, versus one game, or like some games only taking half as long to make. Like I feel like we need games to take longer, because then we'll actually get the good enough quality that we should have.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
I think it's a good thing more than the bad thing.
Like you said, yeah, and the ebb and flows are there. I don't feel the need. Yeah, I don't really feel the need to comment more on that, Jay. I think you've summarised it very well. So, so yeah, it's an interesting period. I for one, I'm like you, Jay. Like as selfish as this is, give me as much time as you possibly can, gaming industry, so I can finish some of the stuff I've got at the moment. Right. Obviously, I've opened a whole new door to.
Hang on, you're breaking up. You're breaking up. You've moved into a
new genre for myself.
There we go.
I'm moving. Yeah, I got you.
Start that sentence again.
So I've already added a 4. So I've got a brand new genre of games following from my Bloodborne Revelation.
Oh yeah.
So that's an automatic another few games on top, right? So that, along with some of the stuff I want to play anyway, shout Cuphead DLC, so I haven't got around to that. As does Fall, so I haven't got around to that. But I'm hoping that when I'm in the good mood, when I'm in the mood, when I've got a weekend, I can probably bash out a few of those things, right? They're not long games. So even those Souls games, like, yes, they're not short, but they're not, I don't think they're
not
50
too taxing,
hours.
Are they?
No. Yeah. No, apart from when you get stuck, obviously, but even then it's, So
I'm starting to get that Souls-like bug again.
So yeah,
with this new Steel Rising or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you finish Elden Ring?
No, not yet. I'm like right at the end though. I've only got to do like maybe 2 or 3 more bosses. That's a lie.
Nice.
3 or 4.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm right at the end. I just got to bother doing it. That's the thing.
Nice. Right there.
Yeah.
Right here. Right now. Okay. Well, that's it for my topic, Janice. You want to add anything else?
No, I think that's good enough. We're at an hour, so that's a good short podcast. It's a good update for where we're at.
Thank you very much for being.
We'll have a bit more to talk about shortly. It honestly might be fairly
I'm sure we
similar.
will. Thanks for your patience,
next,
as always.
I don't know. I mean, there isn't really much in the way of games.
Oh, could be. Could be.
I'll
I thought you meant more like in the field.
Hopefully, I'll have tried out Tomb Raider or played some more God of War or something.
Yeah. Well, whatever you feel, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, feeling.
I mean, I've told you this before about whenever I'm in the mood to do something, I have to stick to that mood. If not, I'll just like be bored. And I'd rather not be bored. And I'm really currently in the movie and TV show watching mood, so I'm just sort of sticking to it as much as I can right now.
I was gonna say you got to ride it, right? Because you might not be, and then
as soon as I get off, I'm just gonna be bored again.
Yeah.
So I've got to make.
Thanks for bearing with me, mate.
No, you're all right. I think it's actually been fairly successful.
Gamer and I hope so. And now that we've tried it out, and I've now that we we didn't, but alas, read the description. But I know, it's not ideal. However, now that I know that, well, if it comes out okay, then obviously we can do it again if needed, So that makes me feel better because I don't have to
really good.
Delay.
I mean, it also gives me like some hope that I could probably potentially do the same thing in the future as well, if for any reason I'm out and about.
Yeah, totally. So
not on location,
it's good. Yeah, totally. Totally. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good whenever this posts.
Yeah.
It's very sunny and warm here, so we'll try and survive. Jay, have a good day watching movies and that, whatever you want to do.
I will.
And we will catch you all soon, I hope.
Peace.